serve from Mendelita and Crimson Embers, Silent Member, and then Orient Sunset and Corduroy, Last Suspect and Hill of Slane, Mount Harvard, the back marker at the moment, Pickle Tink. Opening night from Mendelita, Silent Member and Crimson Embers, then Orient Sunset, Last Suspect, Corduroy, Hill of Slane, Mount Harvard, My Yacht and Pickle Tink. And quite a steady pace in this 3 mile, 1 furlong Waterford Crystal Stairs hurdle. Opening night from Silent Member and Crimson Embers and Mendelita. On Mendelita's outside, Last Suspect, then Orient Sunset, Hill of Slane, Corduroy, Mount Harvard, My Yacht, and finally Pickle Tink. Opening night, and Martin O'Halloran, whose partner Elmore Star ran such a good race in the Triumph Hurdle, although not in contention in the very closing stages. Coming down to the second. Opening night from Silent Member and Mendelita and Crimson Embers and Orient Sunset and Corduroy and My Yacht and Last Suspect on the outside, and then Mount Harvard and Hill of Slane, and finally Pickle Tink. The winner of that champion hurdle for auction, I should have said earlier, bred by Mrs. Paul Finnegan in Ireland. So as they run down to the third of the 13 flights in all. Opening night, Silent Member, Crimson Embers, Orient Sunset, Mendelita, Last Suspect, and Mount Harvard and Hill of Slane and Corduroy, and My Yacht and Pickle Tink. Still going a sensible pace in this very testing ground as they approach flight number 4. Opening night from Silent Member and Crimson Embers, Orient Sunset, Mendelita and Last Suspect, Corduroy and Hill of Slane and Mount Harvard and My Yacht and Pickle Tink. Breasting the rise on the first circuit, opening night from Silent Member, Crimson Embers and Orient Sunset, a little gap then to Mendelita. Length and a half behind Mendelita is Last Suspect, a gap of 2 then to Hill of Slane and Corduroy. Just behind them, Mount Harvard, My Yacht, and then Pickle Tink. Running downhill to the flight that will be the third last on the next circuit, number 5 this time. Opening night from Silent Member and Crimson Embers and Orient Sunset and Mendelita, Mount Harvard and Last Suspect and Hill of Slane, Corduroy, My Yacht and Pickle Tink. Over the 6th, opening night, Silent Member in very close contention, just ahead of Orient Sunset and Crimson Embers, Mount Harvard, Last Suspect, Hill of Slane, Mendelita, Corduroy, My Yacht and Pickle Tink. This will be the last on the next circuit. Opening night from Silent Member over the 7th, then Crimson Embers, Orient Sunset, Last Suspect, Mount Harvard, Hill of Slane, Mendelita, Corduroy, My Yacht and Pickle Tink, as they face another complete circuit. Opening night, Silent Member, Orient Sunset on the inside of the favourite Crimson Embers, Last Suspect just in behind them in the Arkle colours. Little gap then to Mount Harvard, Hill of Slane, Mendelita, Corduroy, My Yacht and Pickle Tink. Running down to the 8th, opening night, Silent Member, Crimson Embers, Last Suspect just behind Crimson Embers, on the inside Orient Sunset, then Mount Harvard, Mendelita, Hill of Slane, My Yacht, Corduroy and Pickle Tink. Silent Member and Tommy Carberry bidding for a double. Right upsides, the leader now. Opening night. Last Suspect, a little reminder there Needs a very strong gallop, and got stamina as it's 40, and this probably hasn't suited it so well. But always a bit of a tail swisher, in fact. Over the 9th there, Silent Member from Orient Sunset, Crimson Embers. Then on the inside, Opening Night, then Mount Harvard, Last Suspect, Mayotte and Hill of Slane. As they race towards the 4th from home, Silent Member in the lead from Crimson Embers and Orient Sunset. Last Suspect on the outside of Mount Harvard. Then Mayotte and Hill of Slane making ground, and Opening Night is losing ground. Racing to the top of the hill, Silent Member from Crimson Embers now gone second. Orient Sunset is third. Then comes Mount Harvard 4. 5 is Hill of Slane, 6 is Last Suspect, and 7 is Mayotte, and then a long gap to Opening Night, Pickle Tink and Corduroy and Mendelita, who are surely right out of it. As they run down now towards the 3rd last, and it's Silent Member being pressed by Crimson Embers. Orient Sunset comes between the two. Mount Harvard is still very well in contention, so is Hill of Slane over on the far side. Then quite a gap to Mayotte and Last Suspect, and there it was Orient Sunset who landed in the lead from Crimson Embers. Then Silent Member trying to fight his way back. Then in 4th place is Mount Harvard as they race to the 2nd last flight now. Orient Sunset in the lead, lands in the lead from Crimson Ember 2nd, Mount Harvard 3rd, Silent Member 4-5, Hill of Slane rounding the home turn now. Orient Sunset trying to make it 4 for Ireland from Crimson Embers for England now. In 3rd place is Mount Harvard as they race towards the final flight. Orient Sunset in the lead, being pressed again now by Crimson Embers. It's Orient Sunset from Crimson Embers. There's very little between them now. Orient Sunset lands in the lead from Crimson Embers, and here comes Hill of Slane with a great challenge on the near side. Orient Sunset now from Crimson Embers, and Hill of Slane putting in a storming challenge on the near side. It's Crimson Embers who's taken it up now from Hill of Slane on the near side. It's Crimson Embers from Hill of Slane as they race up towards the line. Crimson Embers is going to win it at the line. Crimson Embers wins it. Hill of Slane is second. Third is Orient Sunset, and 4 Silent Member. 5 came Mount Harvard, and 6 Mayotte, and then Last Suspect, and behind them Pickle Tink and Opening Night. And